Friday night, and things are very busy, and somebody dropped this TV to me this evening, and the only time I've got free to do it is now, because the rest of the week is really all sorted out, and I want to get it back to them as soon as possible. But I thought I'd do a video on this, because this is probably the pinnacle of TVs that are going faulty at the moment. This is a JVC, and it's a Vestel JVC. I'll show you the label at the back. So 40-inch smart 4K HDR TV. This is the LT40C. I think that's 890, but the problems occur with many different Vestels, the Panasonics, the Toshibas, the Hitachis. They all use this chassis. So this is not a JVC problem, even though I'm quite surprised JVC would want to put the name to something like this. Basically, the picture's gone and it's a backlight issue. Surprise, surprise, after 3 years. And the way they're making the backlights now, there's two things that are causing problems with today's Vestel televisions. And I've always been a bit of a supporter of Vestel because they price it market-wise absolutely bang on for those people that aren't earning millions. And so, we get a nice 4K TV in our living rooms on a budget. But then they do really stupid things. Especially now the right to repair is out and the TVs have got to work for 10 years or at least get the repair parts for them. Ha ha ha. Looking forward to that from Vestel and others. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with the backlights on these. Every LED on this TV is 100%. It's perfect. The problem is with the strips themselves. The tracers, the tracks, the metal of the LED. I think there's 3 strips in here. And they are just wafer thin. And after 2 to 3 years of getting hot and expanding and cooling down and contracting, all of a sudden minute cracks appear. And they are minute. You can't see the cracks with the human eye. I've even looked under a microscope. And you can't find, you really can't find the cracks with those, but they are there. They are minute. Now, I can power them up with my power supply, fine. But of course, Vestel have these ultra, especially over the last couple of years, sensitive power supplies, which the drop of a millivolt or a milliamp makes the power supply shut the backlights down. And I've had 3 of these in today, and they're all doing the same. And it's just a coincidence that somebody called me about 5 o'clock and said, I've got a JVC, and it's not coming on. And I'm going to have a little bet. I'm probably going to lose the bet. I'm going to plug this in now, and I bet the TV comes on. Let's see if we can get it to power up. I may need... How would you believe it? This one's proving me wrong. Well, it didn't come on. I'll just give it another spin. I want to see if I can see the JVC logo in the background. No, I can't. Okay, well that's good. I'm pleased about that because I'm going to prove my point about the flimsiness of the backlights. The only reason this TV is not coming on with a picture is quite simply because of what I've said, the minute cracks on the LED strips. The LED themselves are fine. And what I'm going to do is trick the power supply into bringing them on, and all I do by that is get my LED tester out, bring the backlights on using the LED tester, and then plugging it back into the power supply, and the power supply then thinks the backlights are fine and brings them on. So that's what we'll do. That'll be the next step. Now, there is a chance, because as you can see, I've taken the back off it. I'm just going to plug this TV back in. Sometimes, just by the vibrations of removing the back, can cause silly things on these TVs. Let's Let's just see if the backlights come on. No, they're not going to come on. Right. The second thing I'm going to do, I'll just test that it's definitely not coming on. Because, hang on. I don't think it is. Sometimes, make sure the TV is switched off just by unplugging the LEDs, which is, you can see where I'm doing it, just there. Don't touch anything else, because it's right next to a capacitor. Okay. Now let's see if just unplugging and plugging it has upset them enough to bring it back on. Oh, I saw a flash then, which I haven't seen on any of the others, so there's a chance that this set is going to be the exception to the rule. There you go, look. This is how sensitive they are. And the TV is now, come on, I'll just show you. There it is. And it's working fine. And it will probably continue to work fine for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But we can't send this back to the customer, because it could fail again within just a couple of days. But as I'm just saying, it's not a backlight problem. It's just very sensitive because of the minute cracks and the way that these blooming Vestel power supplies. And let's just shout out these power supplies. There are 2 different versions. One is worse than the other. These are the 17 IPS 72s. And if they detect just the most minute issue, and I'll just prove to you again now, I'm just going to switch off and switch it back on. There you go. We're back on. They're probably going to go off again in a second because it's probably just coming up with a JVC logo. Yeah, that's just the JVC logo. It's put it into standby. I will turn the TV on. And as you can see, the backlights are on. And again, I will switch off. I'll turn the TV round so you can kind of see what I mean. The amount of times, I mean, obviously I've seen this in a faulty mode tonight. You've seen this in a faulty mode. So the customer was right. So here you go. We'll see the JVC logo. There it is. And it's gone into standby. I will switch it on again just one more time, just to prove that the TV will now work fine. Once it's on, it's on. I did say to a young lady today, the cheapest way around it is just keep the TV on. And she said, oh, I'll switch it to standby at night. So I said, no, just keep it on. Just keep, but people won't do that, obviously. But if you did, it will be fine, because the connection is always going to be there. It's not a backlight issue. You can probably see a shadow down here. That's just the angle of the camera. That's, yeah, there's a bit of a shadow. Where am I? Oh, it's there. But that's just the angle of the camera. You can see there's no shadow when that comes on. So sometimes, if we don't see the fault, we've plugged these sets in, and as I say, it's not just JVC, it's all the others that are stamped with this power supply and these backlights from Vestel. They've come on for us straight away, and so we've thought there's nothing wrong with it. So we just charged the customer a nominal fee for carriage and for looking at it, and then we send it back. But then, of course, the customer a few months later says, it's gone again. You didn't fix it. Well, of course we didn't fix it. We didn't find a fault. But there is a fault there. And the only way to fix it, I'm afraid, if you've got a Vestel television, maybe you've got one that failed a year or so ago, and you've just put it in a spare room. Well, I bet you if you plug it in now, it will work. If you give them a day or two, they just settle down and work again. It's just the minute fractions of the cracks in the LED strips, and I've got some LED strips here for it. So this is a brand new set of LED strips. Now I know it's hard to tell on that camera, but I'm trying to get it as close as I can. But just look out, there's 3 strips here, by the way. They're the 3 strips that are going to go in there, A, B and C, or A, B and A as they're labelled. But just look how ridiculously thin they are. And within 2 years have been switched on and switched off. As I say, the cracks appear, and the sensitivity of the I have to say, crappy power supplies on these. They really are. The sensitivity of the cutout system when there's something not quite right is ridiculous. But this TV will probably now carry on working for, as I say, I bet you it works for at least another 2 months, and then goes again, and you leave it for a day, or do what I did, which is just unplug and plug them back in, and it gets them going. That's not the fix. There is a fault. The fault is the minute cracks. The only way to repair it is to put a new set of backlights in. Pain in the backside, because the backlights are not faulty. I've tested each and every one of these backlights. The voltage is correct. The current is correct. It's not a backlight that is failing. It's the trace. It's somewhere on the positive, somewhere on the return. Could be a crack on the common return, which is just causing the power supply to go into shutdown mode for the LED circuit. It's a real pain in the arse, really is. They've just switched off now. You may have noticed that's because they've had their 5 minutes. Have I been ranting for 5 minutes? Anyway, so I'm going to put a brand new set of backlights in this for the customer. Screen is out. So here are the backlights in question. This is where I just double check that these are the correct ones. Absolutely. But to prove a point, do you have to prove a point? Yes. To prove a point, plug the TV in and on. So I've just switched it on. Let's just, there we go. Every single one of the backlights. And if I were to, I'm not going to do this because I've done it on several of these sets. That was just a JVC flash. Now they'll come on for good. I always monitor and make sure if the TV is flickering. You've got some lines, but it's not going to flicker, so anybody that suffers with photosensitive epilepsy should be okay. My dog's barking for some reason. It has gone out of focus. Maybe that'll bring it in focus. I don't know. Weird that both cameras have gone out of focus. That's most bizarre. But anyway, as you can see, the backlights are working. Mobile cameras come into focus now, I think. See if I can get the top one to go into focus just by doing that. Just like that. Sometimes that'll upset it enough to... I'm not too sure what that's done. So isn't it a shame that we have to tear these out? And tear these out is exactly what we have to do. But I have to get out all the clips first, which is here, there, there, and there, and there. So let's do it. I think there are 8 clips. They're all accessible. apart from one which I think they've hidden under the power supply. I think you can just get to it. I think it's hidden. Yeah, it's down. It's underneath here. That one's going out of focus now. What is going on? So all these little clips around the side are fine, and if I just lift this camera up here, hang on a second, can you see? No, you can't, but it's just hiding under there. Let's see where I am first. Okay, so that's the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just putting them in my little pot. If that one is there, that one is here, just to the side of the main board. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. That one, and then there's this little blighter which I can loosen, and then I get the final one from this side. Bing! So now this can come out very easy. I'm just going to put the final 4 clips in the pot so I don't lose it. So maybe you can see as I start to remove these just how thin and nasty these are. The ones I'm putting in are correct for this set. Are they any thicker? No, they're not. They're not. They're better LEDs, but it's not an LED fault. It's just problems along the way. I mean, if you wanted, this is going back, this is a customer's TV. If this was my TV, I'd now get some wires and I would probably loop every LED together and put a common return back. But that would take longer than putting a new set in. But anyway, so you can tell when you remove these just how flimsy it all is. I mean, you can probably tell. It's just ridiculous. But, you know, somebody in a boardroom would have come up with a way of saving 20 cents per strip. Would have been made Employee of the Month. And therefore, your 4K TV, after just 2 to 3 years, develops this problem. But in the bin they go. I'm just going to bend them up, crush them. But remember, every LED in here works. It's not the LEDs that are failing. It's just the tracers that contact to each other. Okay, I'll stop moaning now. Actually, I won't, because I've lost the replacement set of backlights. Where did they? I only had those a second ago. They've got to be here. And they are, they're there. The backlights go back in a particular order because they are not identical. When I say they are not identical, I don't mean that they are not identical to the set that I've taken out, because they are. They are meant for this panel and for this screen. Oh, I do wish when they tape them together that they wouldn't over tape them, because they get bent just by taking the masking tape off. Sorry, I'm losing it today. This is not my favourite Vestel TV to do. Well, no, it's not that it's not my favourite. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's a Vestel TV, so it gets repaired. So there we go, new ones in. I'm going to take them down in a second. Let's just plug in and see that these are, again, going to work. And they do. Obviously they do. There's no reason why they wouldn't. So I'm now going to put the TV back together. So, television reassembled with a set of backlights that it didn't really need. The LEDs weren't faulty, it was the strips themselves that are faulty, but hey. So, just going to turn it on and just make sure that we do get the logo first time. There it is. And it is done. I thank you for watching. Sorry about the rant in this, but it does seem to be one of those TV sets. And again, not just JVC, any Vestel modern TV, 4K TV that's been released over the last 2 or 3 years is starting to suffer with exactly the same thing, whether it's a 40-inch, 43, 39... and probably larger. This model, though, does seem to be the most common. As I said, we've had 3 JVCs in today, but it's not really a JVC. What is these days? Thank you for watching.